Pounds and Punches, the champ Sonny Edwards, the Hustler Pound Sterling. We're back again, a weekly flex. We're back again. It's been a busy weekend, champ. What are you saying to me?
What's that episode for?
Episode 4, Pounds and
Episode
Punches.
4. Do you know what? Oh no, it's episode 3. This is episode. Yeah, last week was episode 3. That's what I mean. Yeah, I didn't get a prediction right. Did I, Pound?
But I did.
I was a bit gutted, you know, because I thought, hold on, imagine if I strung together like 10 in a row.
Yeah, but
Mystic Mac and all of that.
Yeah, but you can't get them all right. But they should call me Psychic P, because I specifically said, close fight, Tommy by decision. Tommy gets knocked down and gets up. Said it all, bro. I said it all. I've got
you know what is mad? You actually did. Like,
I literally said that. I literally said
hold of the real script, didn't it? You got hold of the real script.
The real script, bro. I wrote the script. But yeah, literally, my brother rang me and was like, he's pissed. Couple man rang me still and was like, they're pissed. They didn't bet on it because they heard me say that's exactly that. Like, yeah, Tommy's gonna get knocked down and get up. Close fight. Tommy wins on points. But yeah, it was just one of them ones. But sometimes when you just know, you know. Listen, if you tune into the gang, we will give you a good tip one way or the other.
Yeah, man, listen to one of us.
Yeah, like we're not gonna get it right every time, but we're gonna get it right a lot of the time. I thought, you know what I mean? It's not uneducated statements that we're making it. It's like there's a little bit of knowledge from my side and a whole lot of knowledge from Sonny's, and you know, we do what we do. But anyway, well, where do you want to start then? Yeah, go on.
I want to ask you a question. Did you enjoy the fight?
It was all right. It was all right. What, the Tommy one? The Tommy?
Yeah, man. The main event. Let's jump straight in.
The Tommy fight, I thought it was all right. I thought it was all right. It was what it was. It was what it was for who they are, the levels they're fighting at, and yeah, it was an okay fight. I know what I was watching. It's no different to watching the third fight on the card at a Sky Sports event or something like. It was like one of them ones.
Is that what level you're saying it is? But obviously, it's a bit unique with the
That's what. Yeah, the interest in it is what makes it
interest, the level of exposure.
That's what made it good. But bro, my youth stayed up. Like my youngest stayed up. We watched it together, the three of us, bro.
Do you know one thing I'll say about boxing though? The importance isn't actually ever how good a fighter is. The importance of how competitively matched the fight is. I think that's where the entertainment is. Yes, okay, you can be forgiven for saying that it's not the highest level. It's not the best quality. They was half gassing out halfway through. Each time either fighter was kind of under a bit of pressure, they looked a bit flustered. But they both have relatively little experience in a boxing ring. Like, I had to argue the case that Tommy Fury is still a novice. I mean, people that have actually mixed in the boxing circles. Okay, they said, he started boxing when he was 5 years old. They said he was an amateur. I believe from conversations I've had, he had around 12 amateur fights, like a few years back. Yeah. That's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. That's not a lot of time spent as a boxer. And yes, he might have first put gloves in 5'6" when he was 5'6", but unless he's hitting every single championships from 11 to 18, like some other fighters are before they turn pro, it's not the same thing. You can see from eye test that he's a novice. So I think a lot of people are just being over harsh and critical because of the scale of the event should be reserved for the epitome of the sport. But unfortunately, that's not the world.
I think he boxed well though. He did good. I think he did good, neat and tidy. You know? He works well. They both did well, technically speaking, from where they're at. You know what I mean? They both did well. Tommy was just a better boxer, by the book boxer, better jab. Jake was throwing jabs from way low down, and I don't know, man. Maybe too many yes men around Jake.
Do you know what? To be fair, I really like Jake around that fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, he was doing what he does to sell the fight, but the post-fight conference where he was sort of getting chucked questions left, right, and centre. He was there with his co-manager of the promotions or whatever he's called. But he gave like a real honest assessment. He seemed level-headed, and when asked why boxing, why not nothing else, why not darts, why whatever, I think he gave a really, really good, reasonable answer as to why he has chosen.
What was his answer?
Along the lines of the place he was in before boxing became like an option, the place he was where he saw his life was going. he probably would have been, you know, dead or in jail or something along those lines, because he said that he didn't go into too much detail, but his life was spiraling and boxing sort of saved him. And that kind of mirrors where the love for a lot of fighters comes from. Boxing has saved them from something. Boxing is a better option than what they're seeing around them on their everyday. And although he may have been making money from content creation, being young and maybe dumb at times and maybe naive, a massive influencer at a young age is obviously going to warp your reality different to someone like that hasn't had that existence. Of course it is. So the fact that now he's got a massive profile and he's bringing it to boxing, and I think, okay, yeah, he lost yesterday, but I don't think the fights have ever really been not on his behalf as why they're not getting made. Maybe he had better options and wanted to do things more marketable and tactically, but I think for the most part, Jake's been a refreshing breath of air in the world of boxing, and I think more sort of disruptors with big profiles and platforms and, you know, a lot of influence and a lot of following and reach, they're more welcome.
He's brought a lot of eyes. He's brought a lot of eyes to the sport. But what I'd say, I'll co-sign that, because I was having this conversation with someone yesterday. They were saying, "Oh, how much they hate Jake Paul and this, that, the other." And I said, "Listen, a lot of what he's doing is for marketing purposes and to get eyes on the fights. Like behind the scenes, he's doing a lot for boxing. He does a lot. He does a lot for MMA fighters as well, like fighting for them to get better pay, etc. Like he's actually like
he shed a lot of light.
He's doing some good work. Like he just made Tommy Fury his biggest payday, and so on and so. He put on the first was it the first women's boxing match in Saudi that happened as well on the same card. I don't know if you know about that. Yeah, it was the first women's boxing event. So they're making some moves. He's doing some bits and pieces. Like, and you can't be mad that he is technically what top 2, 3 biggest names in boxing right now, and he's Jake Paul. We saying on that, chat? Is that a wild statement, chat? Did I just make a wild statement to say he's top?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think the reaction, the numbers they generate, the pay-per-views, the sort of interest when he comes to town, all the media pages flock to the events because they know they're guaranteed good guests, good interviews, you know, exciting, entertaining things happen, even if sometimes it isn't in the complete nature of what boxing is supposed to be. But nevertheless, you know, we live in a world where, and I'm taking this from an actual conversation I had, people would rather see two fighters that they know flip a table and do crazy stuff than talk about how much respect there is between them. And unfortunately, that's the world we very much exist in. So you don't always have to be the most technically gifted or highest level to be rewarded, as long as people are interested. And obviously Jake Paul and Tommy Fury, to be fair to him, they both bring platforms, exposure, viewers, interest from various different channels independently outside of boxing. So what happens when you partner already existing exposure with people, the human desire to watch the chaos of a fight unfold in front of them, and no two people, like, because what is it, as long as you, and I've really seen it, so I went to the boxing, I'm glad it's kind of span into this, yeah. So I went into the boxing to go see the Mayweather fight, yeah, and obviously, as you know, Pounds, I ended up commentating on the fight.
Yeah, he said that from last week.
Something off the bucket list that I didn't even know. It went straight on and straight off, you know.
Take a moment, let's break that down for them again. So the Mayweather fight against Aaron Chalmers on Saturday. The champ Sonny Edwards was one of the official commentary team. How many of you was it? Three of you?
Yeah, so there was 3. So I was only brought in for the prior to the main event, the commentary for the main event, and then the sort of wrap up after the main event. I think they probably didn't really back my knowledge for the rest of the card, maybe, or maybe they didn't want to use me over too much. I don't know.
But you did the Mayweather card though, because I heard you, bro. So
but it was like I come in from before Mayweather fought. I came in for the commentary during the fight, and then I came in for the punditry after. Like before that,
that's all right. That's all right. Man wanted to go and have a drink anyway and enjoy himself.
Of course, man, I was enjoying it, but like
it works. It's a win-win. It's a win-win.
So what I was saying is how this worked out, how this turned out, yeah, proves my point again. in boxing, it doesn't matter what level it is. It don't matter anything really, how good one fighter is even. You know, if someone doesn't know both fighters, they don't have interest in both fighters, or at least heard of them or seen them before, or if they've got no interest and the fight's not interesting, they'll sat there at ringside and it's hard to really engage, right? There was 2 female fights, yeah. One of them was the, I think, director of the network, Zeus, which put the show on, which promoted the show. It's like a reality TV channel in America.
I know that network.
The Zeus network, yeah. But I've only really more just become up to scratch with what this is, yeah. But it's like the same crowd of people for people that don't know the context, yeah. It's something about baddies, I'm not too sure, I'll be real, yeah. But it's what that Krishan Rock is, or whatever her name is. That fight with Blueface and is in a relationship with. Anyway, it's that sort of crowd. So these girls have built up some sort of like beef on these shows. And then you had people flying from America, like the mother of my children, shout out to her. This all started by her asking me if I could get her some tickets because she wanted to watch Tommy Lee and Natalie Nunn, 2 reality stars, have a fight.
Natalie Nunn. I know Natalie Nunn, and she's got that. Yeah.
Okay, so, and there was a build up. She was all excited about it. A lot of people in whatever scene that is in were excited about it. So I reached out. They kind of said, look, we'd love to have you on the commentary team. We could sort those tickets out, sort of thing. So conversation, there we go. I'm sat ringside commentating on the best ever. But what it showed to me is someone that doesn't even really have the highest interest in boxing will want to travel to the other side of the country to sit there and watch 2 people that they know their life or think they know a little bit about their life. That's like as exciting as anything else could be. And to me, it kind of blew my mind, but told me what I already know and already have been saying. And it's why you can't be mad at Jake Paul bringing his millions of eyes and Tommy Fury bringing his millions of eyes and capitalizing and making millions of pounds. Like you can't be mad at it because the interest partnered with that human nature and liking to watch 2 people that you know have a fight. Like as long as you know enough people, or not even that, as long as enough people know you.
As long as you generate the interest, that's all it is. That's boxing in general. What we saying though, rematch. You watching it?
You would think so, wouldn't you?
I think so.
Maybe 10 rounds now. Maybe 10 rounds. Maybe we jump 10 rounds. Maybe we give them both a fight somewhere else first, and then we come 10 rounds. But again,
they're not even gonna do that. They're gonna run it straight back for the big bucks. They ain't gonna do that. Who else can they fight and make that kind of money?
Well, you never know. Like Tommy Fury's just got a win over Jake Paul, so whoever he fights next is a bit more interesting than maybe it was before.
Yeah, but where's it gonna pay like that? Even if he fights for a world title, right?
Yeah, if you get say a well-matched fight, you could get one there and then come back to the Jake Paul in the same sort of instance when someone's ready to pay even more money. When they've done a year of Jake Paul saying that he knocked him down and the ref wouldn't let him work, and do you know what I mean? They'll put the spin on it, get everyone excited for a whole year. Pound like sometimes you got to give it time to fest.
You got to build fights, but I think that I think
if they jump straight back in, I don't think it necessarily will produce the exact same money straight away. Like sometimes you have to rebuild it. Like we've seen rematches come back and not work as much or viewed as much or as much interest.
I hear you, but I think the next time them 2 step in the ring, it's with each other. I can't see them. I think the money. I think Jake Paul's got a rematch clause. I think he'll just be like, yeah, they're already talking about it anyway. So I think that
one thing I did see though in that same post-fight conference, when asked about the rematch, Jake kind of didn't answer it. He just looked at his, manager, assistant guy,
because he knows he's going to lose again.
And he ran with the response and basically said, "Look, we're interested in the rematch. They're interested in the rematch, but we're all going to sit down and discuss when's best to think or talk about doing it." Do you know what I mean?
Work out the bag, but he'll lose again. He'll lose again. That's all fact, no fiction. Moving on from that, I'll big up Tommy though for the way he conducted himself and the way he went about it.
Yeah, and you can see a lot to him, man. He came in good shape.
When he let it all out and he broke down where it meant to him. I felt for him still. That's a lot to carry, like man. That's all the trolling and the abuse when he's walking around with his missus and all of that. And I think just the family name as well. It's a lot of pressure to carry that. Not everyone's like you. Where they're all super confident, like that you're carrying the family name. You always probably thought you was the best of the bunch. But flipping, he's known like, boy, I'm not necessarily that guy. I've got to prove it. And tonight's my proving.
Yeah, but pressure, I feel like, don't get me wrong, it was kind of used as the whole marketing like technique. The pressure they're putting on him. So obviously, you know, if it did go the other way, I can't see for a second that Tommy Fury is getting kicked out of the family. You know what I mean? I just can't
No, of
see it.
course they're not getting. He's not getting. No, but I'm talking. But check this though. Check this. Yeah, obviously he's not getting kicked out of the family. But check this. Take the fame, the fortune, all of that. Take all of that out of it. Behind closed doors, you're Tommy Fury. Your brother's Tyson Fury, the conqueror of the world. Yeah, your dad's how your dad is. Yeah, and you're there in reality TV, and your brothers, your other brother, they're all
Yeah, man. That was his like.
And you wanna show like I'm a fighting man too, innit? Like it's your moment. You got to step up. If you lost that,
that's the moment. That's the moment, like in the films, that the lion steps up and joins the pride properly, innit?
That's
Like he's not just a
what
cub
I'm
no more.
trying to say.
Like he earned his name. The
He
stripes.
earned his name. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like he's got his stripes now. He's all right.
In the boxing sense, because obviously Huey Fury, okay, he hasn't maybe reached the heights that Tyson has, but still, you know, carried Fury's name and the Fury name.
No, there's loads of them. But that's what I mean when I say there's more pressure on Tom, because Huey Fury, although he ain't reached the super heights, he's already proven himself.
He's definitely a fighter of a certain standard. Okay, maybe not everyone can be the best in the world. But
he's proved himself. So yeah, it was Tommy's turn. But all right. That's enough on that. Moving on. So go on, talk to me. Mayweather versus Chalmers. How did you see that fight? What were you saying? How did TBE, the GOAT Mayweather? How did he look?
Do you know what's mad? Yeah, like first of all, I want to give a shout out to Aaron Chalmers, because I feel like he came with like enough ambition. And okay, the skill set, the gap was obviously miles apart. It was always going to be, but because he was relatively tough enough, and he was game enough that he was really trying to throw as fast punches and as quick as he could and get him to the target whenever he saw an opportunity, he made Mayweather, I'm not going to say roll back the years, but he made him just like step up a little bit. Where I think like against Deji, he kind of was really, really playing with him. Where Chalmers, he was playing with him, but he knew like, hold on, let me just switch on that little bit and actually make him miss. Talk to him a bit, hit him like. And to be fair to Aaron, he didn't really seem to start like completely unraveling. By the end, he was tired, and I don't think Mayweather completely stepped on through the gears. But it was a pleasure to sit ringside and commentate on one of the best.
That's a big moment there, champ. You know, that's a big moment. You know, listen. You gotta take it in, bro. It's not a joke thing. You just sat there commentating on a Mayweather fight, no matter how you want to do it.
Nah, man, and it did feel like that. Yeah, it did really feel like that. Like I was sat that close, and just to see, okay, again, like I've said, I know it's not prime Mayweather, but you know, just the little nuances he does, the little split seconds he takes, the looks he gives them as a decoy, takes it away and snaps a right hand straight through the middle. Like he really has such a grasp of, you know, physical combat, the space in between two fighters, reach, timing. Like even at age 45, I think maybe 46, whatever he turned the other day, like he's still sharp enough, and that he can go for 8 rounds and not even take a single shot. For me, to be honest, I think maybe a couple of jabs here and there, if that. You know what I mean? It was. And like to do that, people forget how actually hard that is to do. Like you're still a human having a fight, and eventually, as you're getting older, you're losing certain things. Your reactions are going, your engines going, your muscles are like not as strong as they once were. But still, to do it with so much ease against someone that did clearly come with ambition. Like Aaron Chalmers got in there. I seen him in the hotel room, the hotel lobby before. You know, snapped a quick picture, but you could tell that he come with every intention to give it his best go. But like it just wasn't like remotely like, I don't know. He's good, man. He was the best. Potentially.
Yeah, I get it. What we saying though, people was trying to say it was empty in there, and I see people trying to troll.
One thing I will say. Okay, so it was put together seemingly quite last minute, and it seemed like people pretty much booked Mayweather that maybe hadn't had the most experience in running boxing events. So there didn't seem like the most amount of promotion. It kind of seemed like they expected to book Mayweather and sell out the O2. That's kind of like just being mean and honest. But the actual reality of it, there was a lot of pictures going where there was like 50 people in there. That there weren't even no fights going on in the ring at that time. Like that was before the doors. And that's what they were trying to make out, that it got delayed, like the first fight, because the first fight didn't start for half an hour late, but it weren't because of that. They changed like a network thing that they was dealing with, and then it went live. But by the main event, I would say there was at least definitely 2,000 in there, coming up to 3,000, which for the grand scheme of things, an exhibition fight. Aaron Chalmers, I don't think was the right opponent. I think doing a Deji fight or something would have been much, much, much bigger in London rather than doing that in Dubai or Saudi. I'm not sure where they did that. But yeah, like I said, there weren't a massive amount of promotion, but there was still a bit like, and everyone sort of like come close to the ring, and it was a good little event. It was okay, yeah, it weren't absolutely ram-packed sold. Only the downstairs was open, but like it weren't as no way near as like catastrophic as people tried to suggest. You know what I mean? It wasn't. And it generally I thought was a good night. I think people enjoyed it. People enjoyed like the people that were there. It was entertaining. Okay, there was the influence of the reality TV stars, whatever you want to call them, that brought like a certain sort of crowd and vibe. Yeah, okay, not boxing maybe to some people, not everyone's cup of tea, but it's still an event that happens that will attract eyes. And obviously Mayweather's still doing his world tour. Like he said, he is probably one of the most active fighters that's not a fighter in the world. You know what I mean? He's fought what, like 3 or 4 times in the last however many months.
He's grabbing bags. He's grabbing bags. I don't blame him. If he can, why not?
Well, yeah, and he made a good point. He said just like, I don't know, Madonna or Chris Brown or whoever other artist is gonna, look to host an event and perform. He's doing just that. People are saying, "Oh, he must be running out of money." Or like, if you've got potential to pick up a couple of 100,000 or 500,000 or whatever, I have no idea that he got the check for.
Yeah, for that.
Lovejoy said he got 100,000. So if he got that, I can't imagine what Mayweather was getting for that. Because they probably did quite good views in America, with all things considered. But if he can do it, like, why is he not going to? Why does he have to be broke to still be generating all that money? Maybe he just wants to make that and put it straight into something. Like,
people just want to have something to say. But
all I'm saying is, yeah, I know what it takes to be like a boxer and doing in that sort of way. Like, anyone that can pay to take 137 people around the world must be generating a lot of money if they're not fitting the bill. I know that. But ain't no one picking up the tab for 137 flights. Like, fighters don't barely get 4, 5, 6 if you start getting some leverage. 10 if you're a superstar. That's fighting for an event that they want you at.
Stop hate. Yeah, the men are just hating on Mayweather. All right, who else was on that card?
Who else was there? There was obviously Tommy Lee, Natalie Nunn. To talk about the fight, Tommy Lee, if you haven't watched it already, Tommy Lee apparently can fight in real life when there's security guards and no boxing ring. But I don't know. After the first minute, she didn't really want to be in there. She was like speaking to her. She laid down on the floor and got counted out, and then was allowed to continue. And then I don't know. She's talking about her hair. I don't know. It was a bit chaotic. I'll be real. That
circus. Moving on from that.
Natalie Nunn is a bit like a problem, though. Let me just say that. Natalie Nunn.
Yeah, but Natalie Nunn looks like she'll be hard to knock out because she's got like a big jaw and all of that. Like
swinging for the hills. And to be fair to Tommy Lee, she was, how to put this politely, she was a lot more slender than her opponent for that one. There was probably a weight disadvantage.
You think there's a weight differentiation?
If there wasn't, I'll be damned. I'll be wrong. Like it definitely looked like there was. It definitely looked like there was. But I suppose in them fights that doesn't always matter, innit? Wait.
It don't. All right, moving on from that because that was like a circus card.
Christopher Lovejoy, did you see that?
It's Christopher Lovejoy. Ain't that one?
Christopher Lovejoy, 21 fights, 20 wins, 20 knockouts. He took a jab to the rib, and I think he must have snapped something. Because then he took a knee and didn't get up. And then put on instinct, laughing, snoring, saying he got 100 grand.
Yeah, man, I'm saying fixed. I didn't even see it. We got.
I'm rating the hustle, but I mean, I feel like it was only a 3-round fight, and he got like basically to the end, and then just went nah, just sat on the floor.
Yeah, man, there's something going on at the bookies.
I think he's trolling, bro, because obviously it's not a proper fight. I think he might be trolling. Like, I'm not joking.
Yeah, them men are trolling.
Like, he was just moving nice. Like, the kid didn't really hit him. He just touched him. And he was like, oh. It was quite funny.
He's trolling.
Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery and we see him back up.
Drop me out. Yeah, all right. And but moving on from all of that stuff, the theatrics. Conor Benn, bro. He's back. Conor Benn's back. Innocent. He's innocent, champ.
What are you saying? Innocent?
All he did, but the brother just had eggs. What, man can't eat eggs? 60
eggs a week. You're a big pound. You're a big brother.
I don't even eat 10, but he's going for he's bulk. I don't even eat 5. He's bulking.
I don't know, man. I don't know about
What do
that.
you
You know
think,
what it
Chad?
is?
Tell me what
With
you
me,
think.
yeah, people struggle to see, yeah, because they know I'm a boxer and I exist in the world. They struggle to see that I'm a really big boxing fan as well. So it's never personal when these things sort of come up.
Everyone, never
Like
personal.
Conor Benn,
Never
last
personal.
time I seen him, it was nothing but love. We spoke. I gave him some flowers. He gave me some back. Was chatting, chopping it up, whatever. Like, so the actual personal side of it doesn't exist because I think he's all right. Like, there's nothing.
You're just dealing with the facts. You're just dealing with what
I'm
you
just
see
dealing
it
with
as
the
a
facts
fan.
and what I'm thinking,
So
yeah.
talk to me.
And I don't know. It just seems a bit of like using legal positions and power and influence and technicalities and loopholes and
Technicalities, loopholes.
taking back your license, so they definitely couldn't suspend you, and then it definitely couldn't flag with any boards that they work with, other boards that might work with the British board, probably calling out all the big name influence like Pacquiao and stuff to like look for a massive money fight using the sort of infamousy that he's just earned to capitalize on that in Saudi or somewhere other. I get it. I get making the best out of a bad situation, but for me, it's like, every single time someone fails for something, very like I think the 0.01% people say, "Oh, do you know what? I thought everyone else was on it and wanted the same advantage. My bad. I thought I could get away with it. I won't do it again. Otherwise, the restriction my ban will be longer. Take the ban and come back. Respectable. But when you start putting up all of these, I don't know. It just always seems like anytime someone's got it in their system, it's not like, oh, I put it there. It's what? How did that get there? Oh, here's an excuse. It must have been like,
Yeah,
what?
to me, on a serious thing, I don't think no one's buying the eggs thing. It's not credible, really, is it? Like,
I
how
thought
many
I thought
eggs
we
you
had
got?
you sold.
No, brother.
I thought we
Don't
had
think.
you sold there for a set
No,
pound.
no. I was just playing. Fucking, how many eggs can you eat, bro? Come on, like, no one ain't really believing it, innit? Let's just be real. No one, streets don't believe it, innit? No one ain't believing that. I don't know who's believing it in the boxing world,
I
but
think the only people, I'll be wrong,
who, the TV
the
networks?
only people I've spoke to that actually believe it are people that have spoken to Connor and he's looked at them in the face and said, I didn't do it. Like, and then they take the relationship and that they know him to be a nice guy and that they like him and trust, and they don't think they look him in the face and lie. Which I get, I completely get. Like, maybe someone's saying everything about you, Pounds, and then
He failed
you
two
tell me
tests, though,
something
right? He
different.
failed two tests, though, right?
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, let's just say the whole world's saying something about you, Pounds, and then me and you speak on a private, and you're
So I
telling
didn't do
me
it.
this, that, and the third, this, that, and the
I didn't
third.
do
Like,
it, bro.
through our relationship, I might be more inclined to believe you than
I
if I
didn't
didn't
do
know
it,
you.
bro. But look, see, as I'm saying, I'm kind of grinning in it because this, if you, brother, two tests, two tests.
And you know what, it didn't even
Um,
count the second one. So that
I was thinking,
excuse,
like, I heard one, I
that
ain't heard the
excuse,
other. So that's
he
not for
failed.
both. That's just for one.
Yeah, he failed a test, and then months later failed another test. And from my experience of knowing anything about the body, there's not much detectable trace that when you're ingesting, especially accidentally and not in like a complete cycle, there's not many things that will still be there a couple of months later. The body's too magical for that. Like, everyone knows experience of people that aren't know do drugs and then go and have to pass drugs tests, and within all like 12 hours sometimes it all miraculously, like, everyone knows, because the detection of the stuff compared to what you need to have in your system is sometimes quite not that sensitive. So I don't know, I just don't think anyone believes it. I
Yeah,
personally,
I don't think people believe it. Not from where I'm at and what I'm hearing. People don't believe it. And also, just look at. Listen, I'm not saying people can't improve, but it kind of would make sense. The drastic improvements, the gains, and it all kind of points in that direction. And you failed two tests. Like,
yeah, like,
you failed
no one
two.
said it. No one said it with any conviction before two failed tests, and I seen some media pages. I don't want to name and shame them because like they are quite a young kid. I seen some media pages putting out there that now Conor Benn is looking to sue the British board for damages and loss of earnings. Yeah, which I don't know if that's true. That seems crazy, too crazy to be true. But
Connor, you just gotta take the W and go on with your life, bro. If you
if
pull this
it,
one off, you
if
gotta keep it moving.
if that is true, I think it really highlights the underlying issue of our sport and why it will never be clean. Because what it shows, right? as long as they have a story that they can legally put, like, with enough paid lawyers to, here's a 270-page document. But man, this is not me making stuff up or dramatic, like, affecting it all over the place. These are things that we've seen from their story. Like, we've given them a 270-page document. We've proved their innocence. Huh? Why would you need 270 pages of evidence and legal speak to prove evidence? Something should be in your system in the first place. Pounds, I've done probably around 30 drugs tests at this point. There hasn't been random things that shouldn't be in my body. Why? Because I'm held accountable to everything that goes in it by signing up to being a boxer and getting in the rankings and the clean boxing program and the UCAD 24/7 testing and 365 whereabout testing that I'm on. I have to be held accountable. So why do I have to be held accountable? But through enough, careful steps. For enough smoke and mirrors and careful steps at the right time through very, very good legal advice, you can work your way into a position where the board don't really want to come after you because there's this looming fear that you can go after them after the person they just got rid of. And then they'll pass that to the governing body of the anti-doping. So now all of a sudden you've got a legal case against two entities that job it is to keep this sport safe. And in that position, it happens where that 3.5 million or 5 million or whatever purse now is on the heads of the people that stopped that fight happening. So if I am running a business as well as a governing body for a boxing, why am I going to keep, risking not only my finances personally from losing out because they got interest in that one event, but why could then the whole system go bankrupt because we lose a court case and we did something wrong? Like, no wonder why people are, not quick or even caring about people getting banned and events not happening, because people can actually just sue. You shouldn't be able to sue the British board and I'm not 100% saying he is, but I have seen cases where they do sue for like release of stuff or mishandling stuff, and the loss of earnings, the damages is always what the money for the fight was, because literally if they didn't do what they did, that fight would have been paid to them. So it's just a bit of a mind-boggling. How do you get out of that? Like, whose responsibility is it to make the fighters clean? Maybe if it was the promoters, maybe if the promoters got absolutely battered, if fighters failed drugs tests, financial sanctions and fighters not allowed to fight and everything else, then they would hold the fighters really accountable and wouldn't work with anyone that was even suspected of cheating. Like, there's whispers that they might be taking, saying, no, leave him. Like, yeah, okay, we might miss out on someone that don't, but true and clean hearts always win in the end, I think. And if he hasn't done it, if somehow, which way I was sat in his shoes, knowing that I was 100% innocent and had to listen to people like me rambling on like nothing, and they don't really know anything about anything, I would be frustrated too. So if he hasn't, and by clean heart, he can put hands up and do whatever and say that he didn't do anything. But for me, I just can't see it. And unfortunately, like, I don't like, jumping the gun. That's why I might have said a few things when it was first in the air, but I left my assumptions, my real broad strokes.
What did you say when it was first in the air, champ?
Well, it just was. There was a lot like speaking about, and then there was, promoters coming out and saying that the fight was still going to happen, then it wasn't going to happen.
Oh, when it first happened, you mean? Yeah. Got you.
So what I'm saying is, I was involved in a few of the conversations. Then I'm not making it.
You would be. You're reigning world champion. You're clean. People are gonna want your opinion.
Yeah. So I made that.
Did you see Spence's tweet?
Oh, and the reply was something along the lines of, what about you? I'll fight you, which I don't know. It just seems a bit mad. I feel like sometimes fighters, when they become the villain, decide at some point in their own time, well, now I'm really going to play the villain. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm really going to give everyone what they're putting on me anyway. And I hear that and I understand that maybe he's doing that, replying to anyone and everyone that he speaks to, especially someone like Errol Spence that's got a massive profile, etc. And he could genuinely fight. I don't think if I was him or one of his advisors, I would tell him to go anywhere near Errol Spence. I think there is levels in boxing, but at the same time, he's got a lot of belief in his own ambition and personality and his position in boxing. So who am I to cast aspersions?
No, he said it was a payday, but no, Spence would move to him. But Spence told him that
still. So until you've lost, you don't know how to lose. So
that's right. No, the belief's there. The belief's there. but Spence said to him that you're a cheat, like your dad. I thought that was a bit harsh. There's no evidence on Big Nige.
Nah, I know, but no, it's one of those things in boxing. In boxing, unfortunately, like in the world, you have one name, you have one face. You can't change it, no matter what you want to do or try and clean it or whitewash it, whatever. You can't. And unfortunately, in Nigel Benn's career, bear in mind, a legend, a fighter that I really enjoyed the career of, the bits that I've seen. I'll be real, I was probably always more
come on, bro. One of the
but I'll be real. Like, even though I didn't, join in the story when it was live happening, I always was kind of more Chris Eubank Senior. I just kind of liked his like quirky, more outside personality a bit. But there was, some grey areas. Some days.
The passing out thing. The passing out.
But yeah, I can't remember. There was a few stories, and I don't want to
that story. I heard. Now the story was one of them. I definitely know was. There
was a couple of times where allegedly he didn't, wasn't forefront in taking drugs tests, etc., etc. But what I'm saying is that that is before and whatnot, and who knows what is true or what. But what I'm saying is you have a stain on your name and on your reputation if you have any grey areas. The reason why I can speak so openly and choose to also do so is I know for a fact that I have never knowingly digested anything performance enhancing drug related, enhancer, stimulant. Like, I can't even keep up with my vitamins. Like, I couldn't imagine trying to work that into.
What about like a Viagra or anything like that, champ?
You know what? I'll be real, Pounds, yeah, and this is genuinely from my heart, and I generally stand on these words. You see me, I've never used a Viagra or any other.
My God, neither have I. That's why you're my guy. No homo. That's why you're my guy.
You know why, though, Pounds? Because I respect the game too much. Like, both inside the ring and inside, you know what I mean, other places. I respect the game too much. You know them stories when it's like, oh yeah, I had one man didn't really know what he was doing, but then one night it was like 7 times. It was all night. I was like, yeah, I got some news for you.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah, factual.
I respect the game too much.
I asked that as well because I heard I've heard MMA guys as well use that as their reason as how they popped, how they pissed hot.
I don't know.
That's more just waffle, but that's all speculation. But yeah, back to that. All right, we won't say much more on the Conor Benn thing. So what is he? Is he clear to fight now? Does that mean he can just take the fight now?
So again, we're in a position, Pound, where just like the Oscar Valdez, the Julio Cesar Martinez, there is more Canelo even. Just like in all those instances, someone's failed a drugs test. And then because of the way things are set up, when they got tested, who they got tested by, and who's accountable for the testing, the decision on whether a man is, hung to dry or saved from public hanging is down to one man, Maurizio Solomon, who, bear in mind, I have nothing against. I hate disclaiming this, but just know it's complete neutral, maybe half journalistic hat on right now, yeah? Right now, it appears to be that it lies down on one person's decision, because the only angle they're trying to get, Conor Benn hasn't got a British license. He revoked it himself, and so he doesn't want to be considered a professional boxer by the British Board of Boxing Control.
Oh, so when he comes, that he's not going to change on that now when he comes back.
When he went to the hearing, he opened with, allegedly, I weren't there, but from the reports, and I think what the British Board said, he said in no uncertain terms, if you're not suspending me right now, as of now, I am revoking my British license. And by doing that, he puts himself in a position where he's no longer considered a professional boxer. So while case is getting investigated, the British board, who we deem as the most authoritative boxing board in Britain and Britain's space in world boxing, he no longer has a license to them. Therefore, they have no jurisdiction over punishing him, saying he can or can't do whatever. What they can do is say he can't fight in Britain, and any boards that work with the British board that like doing shows there or would have to get permission for him to fight there, and it'd probably get rejected. But if they don't work with them, if it's like an unlicensed type thing, then who can say boo to a goose? They can't. Like, it's not their position to say. So by him taking away the license now, the only thing that really matters, well, do the governing bodies, the the belts, the WBC, the IBO, the IBF, the WBA, WBO, do they consider him still an active boxer just outside of his not having a British license? You don't need a British license, as we know, people have said. Tyson Fury has a German or an Irish or whatever alternate license he has, and he can fight anywhere. And because the British board allow him to fight in the UK, when he fights, they just do a foreign boxer request, he gets accepted, and it's fine. But will Conor Benn be able to do that on a British show right now? I very much doubt it. I'll make an example of him. But if he chooses to fight in the US, if he chooses to fight in Dubai, Saudi, anywhere in between, as long as that local boxing commission are accepting whatever boxing license he's got, then he can fight. Like the British.
But this is like it's like Hay and Chisora getting Luxembourg licenses or whatever they got when they had their fight. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and because Luxembourg aren't really at the jurisdiction of the British board, when they would have said to him, "Oh, we've seen that you've got an event on and we banned these two fighters or whatever happened, and that's the way it can't happen," we would politely ask, as the British board, and you like to work with us, use our license control if you want, yada yada yada. Can you please not put that show? When they don't answer the email or pick up the phone and the fight happens, then again, it's up to the British board to have a conversation when the Luxembourg want to bring a fighter over that's licensed to them to fight on Britain, whether they're going to let them or not. Are they going to make an example of that? Are they going to punish them? If the Luxembourg committee did take it, the German might have, the Maltese might have, the Albanian might have. The list is literally, as many places there are, the list is longer than that because there's more than one per place. You know what I mean? So,
he's going to be back. He's going to be back. Basically, he's going to be back.
And
maybe Eubank. What do you reckon? Eubank? Who do you reckon he'll fight?
No, but again, sorry, just to quickly go back to, like, we're at that position where Maurizio Sullivan or whoever else, the other ones that don't want to make an example of Conor Benn, they can still put him in the rankings, which really, if Conor Benn goes as the 7th rated WBC boxer and tries to get his boxing license anywhere in the world, who's going to turn that down? Who's going to turn down that work? Because these governing bodies will get some sort of incentive to have him work with them. These governing bodies want you to fight. In fact, these governing bodies want you to fight in their country. Like, they get more from it. So and because it's a money sport where it's sort of money over morals a lot of the time. You know, you have examples like Conor Benn, you have examples like Canelo, Julio Cesar Martinez, Oscar Valdez. You have examples where they fail a drugs test and within the same quarter where they haven't really, like, okay, Conor Benn lost the fight, but a lot of the time people don't even lose the fight they're having if they can get enough things tied up, like for failing a drug test, where not everyone has that same sort of protection, I guess. So then what's the point of having drug testing if it's skewed to who's got the best friends or the leverage somewhere or makes the most money? So like, because there has to be some sort of consistencies. I know fighters that be boxing on small halls in Sheffield, suffering 4-year bans for traces of cocaine in their system. But then people with performance enhancing drugs and things that really you would expect would have more dramatic effects to a boxing competition than someone probably going on a binge for a long weekend 3 weeks before a fight because their head went and they was dealing with too much nerves. And weren't sure right at that point if they was going to box. Probably said, you know what, I'm not going to fight that. I'm going to make out I'm ill. And then by Monday, they actually thought, you know what, actually, no, I'm not going out like that. I'm not doing that to myself. Yeah, whatever the story is, that person's got a 4-year ban.
Yeah. I hear you.
People that, and that's the someone that might have fought for £900 or £1,200 or £1,500 in a title fight, or if that, or had to lose money. That's that boxer. He's serving a 4-year ban. But someone that's had everything rolled out from the roll carpet and got all the best friends, all the media is best friends, don't ask the questions, the real questions. Like, they get away with everything. And like, if anyone says anything, it's like, oh, can you believe he said that? Or can you believe he's questioning him at all? Like, and unfortunately, because boxing's so small, it's very taboo. It's like anything in this world that people don't feel comfortable speaking about that's going on everywhere. Like, you don't speak about it. Why? Because you want to be that person in the room being the problem. But for me, as someone that hand on heart is a clean athlete, I feel obliged at this point to talk about it. I feel obliged to shed that little bit more light and stir the conversation. I don't like to completely cancel anyone for any action they do in their life because there's always reasons, insecurities, or there might be infrastructure, or there
You
might be.
spoke it. You spoke it. You made your point. You made it very clear. You've been crystal. Moving on. Coming to the last chapter of the show. Moving on. We're done now with the boxing. We're moving on to the
No wonder why he
MMA.
was trying. Yeah, no wonder. Okay, it makes sense now. I thought, why is he trying to tie me up?
MMA world. No. MMA world, because you covered that well. This weekend, UFC 285. Jon Jones is back. He's moving up to heavyweight and fighting for the title against Cyril Gane. You might not know much about Eve. You know who Jon Jones
I've
is, isn't
seen Jon Jones a few times. I
it?
remember when he boxed DC, when he fought, sorry, DC one time.
Yeah.
Was in a casino, me, Lyndon, Zelfa, Bugsy Malone. And me, Lyndon, and Zelfa, we just come from the club and we fell asleep halfway through the fight like this in the casino. And then as the knockout come and everyone made noise, we all woke up and at the same time made out. We just seen what had happened. And as we was walking to the car, I was like, I'll be real, boys. I didn't even see the knockout. Me,
You're not rating the MMA thing.
And then, but then the other two boxers, they said, "Hey, same." And everyone flagged that we've seen it.
You man ain't rating the thing. But this week you're gonna see it. Jon Jones, one of the GOATs, definitely top two. Anderson Silva's my guy, but Jon Jones, Anderson Silva, they're definitely like top two of all time. Interchangeable, however you want to have it. He's moving up to heavyweight because he's bored. He's been a light heavyweight champ, just crushing dons. Crushing dons so long, pause, that flipping.
It's not even fair.
He just started getting bored, and then like the fights weren't interesting. So you can see he's still winning, but he's not winning how he was before because like it's not the same. It's not of interest. So he took 2 years out, put all the weight on, and he's done it the long way, like eating and training and eating. Two clean years out, and now he's going up at heavyweight. He was gonna have to fight Francis Ngannou, but Francis Ngannou's left the company. You know who Francis Ngannou is?
Yeah, I do.
Right,
I do.
The beast. So
he wants to fight. Derek Chisora released information on our Instagram live to me and Lyndon. Said that he wants to fight. Derek Chisora said he wanted to fight Ngannou, and then that was the thing. But what I think was mad, and we didn't really realize at the time, is that Del Boy said that, and within 24 hours, 48 hours, Francis Ngannou is no longer with the UFC. Do you know what I mean?
So, he knew the thing. He knew something was coming.
Someone came to someone involved in the show and said, you got us in some trouble there. You know what I mean? Because that come out from there and went.
A little leakage.
A little leak, but you know what I mean?
But flipping. No, I don't think he'll fight Derek. But no, back to the script. So yeah, Jon Jones is fighting Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is a French don. He's actually a good mover on the feet. Still, he's on the feet. He moves around. Clean striker on the feet.
But what you saying?
Who's winning?
Yeah.
Jon Jones. Jon Jones is winning.
Why are you trying to sell him then? Why are you trying to sell him so hard?
Who, the other guy?
Yeah. Is he good? Yeah, the other guy good.
The other guy's good. He might be a harder fight in ways than Francis because the other guy is
he the guy or what?
If Francis weren't there, he'd be the number one contender.
Okay. I've got a question. Seeing as we've been talking about Ben, we're not taking it back there, but what has happened in Jon Jones's? Because I don't know much.
Yeah, we're going to talk Jon Jones and his failed drug test now and all of that.
Yeah, so what is it that's been keeping him out the ring? Because I know there's some UFC fighters that like cannabis.
He's always this time he's been out the ring because he's been going up to heavyweight. So he chose to I'm going to put on 20, 30 pounds and I'm going to do it like the long way. I'm not going to rush to do it. I'm going to fucking eat food, lift weights, train, and grow my body into it. Rather than do it in 6 months of eating shit, he chose to go the full 2 years out. He's rich enough to do it. Outside of that, he was always out the ring from fucking failed drug test. That's why he's got blemishes on his face. Failed drug test. He's another one saying, tainted supplements.
It always is, isn't it?
It's always tainted supplements. He's had a couple instances like that. He's failed a couple, I think. He's another one. I think he's a wild guy. Like, he likes to party, innit? He'll say it, like he'll do coke, party, fucking. Got drunk one night, crashed his car into some woman's car, ran off and left the car. He's a madman, isn't he? He's one of them madmen.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay, but
he's one of them madmen still.
But is it like? But what is it like? Performance enhancing? That's what you said. He got.
What he got popped for?
Yeah.
He's another one that they were like, oh, they found what did they call it, like a micro whatever of Saturn.
How's it going to be ever
A
more than that?
picogram. I'd never heard of picogram until Jon Jones when
They
they
just
said
start
he's
inventing
like,
up smaller
yeah,
measurements.
the one that he always says is he goes, what was found in his system is the equivalent of a grain of salt in a swimming pool. So he's saying, you know, for it to be there, it could have come from anything. But he's, you know, from man's taking coke, Viagra's, this, that, the other. You know what it is already, really and truly.
You know what it is though, like. I don't know. I think until I experience failing a drugs test, knowing I haven't done anything, it's always going to be very hard for me because what am I doing different to everyone else? Well, I can keep up like avoiding it. I'm just not drinking any drink that I didn't open the lid of. I know where it come from. Simple. If anyone tries to give me a drink, I ask, "What is that?" I don't just go, "Oh, that's a protein shake." Bust it.
You have to.
I'm on Global Joe. I'm checking the things. I'm going on ingredients because guess what? If I don't, then I'm gonna have people saying I'm a drugs cheat because of people that have all the time. And then, like, imagine if every time someone like failed a drug test, they went, "Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I did do it. My bad." Then that one time it might bust when someone actually didn't do it, people might believe them. But now, no one will ever believe
everyone. No one says they did it, but I'm saying Jon Jones wins via ground and pound. He takes the brother down because I think the brother might be better than him on the feet. Jon Jones will fight with him on his feet because Jon Jones is very good on his feet actually. But I think Jon Jones might do him. Jon Jones definitely wins.
What about the 2 years out? No, 2 years out, new weight, no, nothing, no.
He's so good though. He's so good, Sonny. The brother's a mad genius. Still, he's that good that he was coming in after benders, coke, alcohol, not training, and beating world class guys like just off will and skill,
Sparring, you mean?
In title fights.
What? So he's going out on benders just before the fight, the night before the fight.
Literally, brothers will say they see him in Vegas 2 weeks. Like he can't. Like even the UFC Dana White and them and say like, listen, when he comes to do press runs for us in Vegas, we have to get him out of Vegas as soon as he's done the press run. If you let him stay for 2 days, he's going out on a bender. He's gonna go do coke, bang some broads. He's gonna drink, do a mad thing.
He's a superstar lifestyle, man.
Yeah. He's a superstar. So he's living the life, innit? He's living the life. So
you know what's mad though? I do think, why is it always, why is it always like the really, really, really good ones that can get away with, like they have to be like super elite, but when they are, there's usually like some sort of I can't even believe they do that, and still like, because from what we're told, all those things that he does, goes out partying and whatever, should be the absolute cardinal sin and death of his boxing career. But like we've seen with examples in other sports like Dennis Rodman and basketball, that sometimes if you let the athlete be a person and do the stuff that makes them maybe as a man feel like a man, or feels that like that stuff that they enjoy releases a certain level of different chemicals and dopamines and serotonins and all of that stuff, like maybe that does benefit performance more than the reality.
For some people it does. For some people it does. Some people it does.
I think it's more interesting than people like
genuinely does. Some people are just like that. Some people need to be by the book, and others are just. He's a wild guy, innit? That's why he could do. He's a mad genius, innit? So if that's what he needs, like to vent, like I don't know, brother. Like
people don't know what it's like in other people's heads. I think people always think, "Oh, why are you doing that? Why are they doing that?" There's probably a whole 101 reasons that led to them being in a place where whatever they're doing, that's what they're doing. But I feel like some people, they can find. Maybe there's no healthy balance, but for him and his performing, clearly a one that he can still maintain an elite level of competition throughout his career. Because I feel like there's never been a time that, Jon Jones was the one getting beat up on, ever.
No. His hardest fight was the one where it was said like he didn't train, he was out partying and drinking. That was his hardest fight against a guy called Gustafsson, and they went life and death, but Jones still beat him.
And that Gustafsson is quite good, isn't it? I remember seeing him on UFC.
Elite. But what it is, Jones has got that stubbornness in him of like he's a warrior, bro. It ain't just skill set. He's not just an athlete. He's a fighter as well. So
one thing I think, maybe I can a little bit relate to it to a certain degree. I feel like So now when people genuinely believe they're really, really, really good at something to the point that it kind of gets monotonously them winning and it's kind of easy, they start putting obstacles to make it harder. And then what happens is, whilst they're doing it, like you'll have certain fighters that we spend in all camp still half staying up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and sort of doing whatever they want to do to a certain degree. But because they never waking up and sparring at 9, 10 a.m. but still getting through like 10, 12 rounds and sort of no one can really believe how they're doing it. Because they're experiencing themselves at like 20% off or 30% off maximum capacity, but then they can still drag that up to being way better than what the person they're in the ring with can bring. Like in a roundabout, dumb sort of, they shouldn't be doing this way. It probably kind of makes them a little bit better. It kind of puts them with more discomfort and not everything having to be level and the same. Like they can come in hanging, no sleep. They've been with whoever all night and all morning, and they've gone straight in and then blown everyone's head with the work they've done or the amount of effort they put in. Or
yeah, makes sense, But bro, he tells DC that fight you saw with DC. He told DC no in the press conference before that fight because they fought twice. He told DC like, yeah, he goes, bro, I was doing cocaine and that before I beat you the first time. Like, he just like,
imagine hearing that though from someone you're fighting again, and knowing they're probably not lying as well.
You know he's not lying. You know he's not lying. You know he's not lying. Yeah, that's
like
mad.
imagine hearing that though, and then still like you lost though. Like,
yeah, that's mad.
can you imagine though?
And you trained
like,
so hard.
You'll be thinking, well, I hope that you don't come in fully fresh the next time.
Mad, man. But yeah, that fight's going off. Cyril Gane's very good, man. I'm not going to say it big. He's not. He's a big guy. He's striking very clean. He throws heavy. He's a big tick heavyweight, tall, weighty. But I think Jon will strike with him. Jon will give him a mixed martial arts match. So he'll mix the takedowns with the striking. And I think when he takes him down, he's not just going to be on some laying on him. He's going to cut him up with elbows. And I think he'll Jon Jones by a TKO at some point in that fight. That's my pick.
Because I feel like when you've got such a good grasp of both sort of games, and obviously there's even more sort of variances of the game in MMA, I feel like when you can keep making them think you're either going to drop down or you're going to come in for like some sort of grapple or you're going to take down, but in the meanwhile you're still managed to find striking.
You can paralyze them.
Yeah, you can end up setting a lot of like even striking looks by half pretending you're coming for the takedown or vice versa.
So you're talking the thing. And what I'll say as well, I didn't mention this before, as I know you're new to this, I had to tell you all the background stuff as well. He comes from a family of athletes. Jon Jones' two brothers are both in the NFL.
Okay. So bred a certain
he's got two. I know we definitely got one that's in the NFL, but I think he's both. Yeah, in the NFL. So he comes from a naturally athletic family, and I think he's the youngest of them. So he's been used to taking beatings and all that kind of stuff. I remember he
had growing up with that sort of influence of dedication and working towards.
Yeah, and he's done the wrestling as a youth and all of that. So yeah.
And one thing I think you'll find consistent, is the youngest is usually the best and most talented in the family because whatever the eldest gets exposed to, and when they get exposed to it, even if they don't start it, the younger one, they usually have the lens on it to a certain degree, and they see more, and then the mistakes get made more, even if it's just sport in general, like certain diet things or certain like workout plans. Like you'll all learn as you get more experience into any sport that you can then relay back to say something else or even just life in general. So I feel I feel like so baby syndrome. I think it's definitely like in sport, the youngest will sometimes a lot of the time be the one that really breaks through, right? Especially if they had others in the same field before them, like their brothers or sisters.
Yeah, that's real. And that's some knowledge from the champ. But yeah, I think that covers it all for this week. There ain't much else. There ain't no boxing this weekend, really, is there?
Boxing this week?
No, and there'll be fights. There ain't no big fights this weekend, is it? Before we bring it to a close, before we wrap up.
But I always like to have a little look just before.
Yeah, you can have a little look.
Just before. So what date are we on today? The 27th. So yeah, these are all in places far obscure to me. Friday the 14th. There's some in. Is that? I don't think that's.
Friday the 14th. When's that, bro? Because this Friday sounds like the 7th.
Yeah, there's some York Hall in Anthony Martinez. Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's any glaring obvious ones that we're missing out, to be honest. I don't think it's really.
No, they're good. Then this weekend is all about UFC 285. Jon Jones. That's your homework for the week, champ. You got to watch that. Oh yeah, the co-main is Valentina Shevchenko against Alexa Grasso. Valentina Shevchenko is has been a champion for a lot. That's a flyweight title fight. She's a flyweight champion, I believe. She's been a kickboxer for however many years first. She's just a savage fucking beast.
Okay, Shevchenko. Yeah, what's that? Ukrainian?
I think you're right there. I think you're right. I'll have you right there still. But yeah, she's a dangerous woman still. She's fighting against Alexa Grasso. I think a Mexican lady still. So yeah, that one's there. But yeah,
there is a few American fights going on. Brandon Figueroa for the WBC interim world title with Mark Magsayo. I like Mark Magsayo. Good fighter.
So who's your pick in that fight, Chad?
Huh? They lost to Mayweather. Big Gary Allen Russell Jr. That's what I meant.
Junior.
Magsayo's good. Philippines. He's quite a big puncher with the 16 knockouts. But I don't know. Figueroa looked really good. Looked really good against Fulton in the sense of a really hard fight where Fulton's looked really, really good. Like Fulton's one of the highest rated boxers out there, and I think that win against Figueroa really sort of pushed him forward a bit. And then since beating Daniel Roman as well as Arnold Kegay, so Figueroa I've only lost to one of the probably up there top 15 pound for pound fighters in the world, and Stephen Fulton right now. This is where the lens is on him now. Like, he's just had the defeat. He's come back with like a decent win against someone with a decent record, but not a massive name. So he needs to win this for the WBC.
He needs to win.
I'm not sure who's the WBC. Wait, what weight is that? Feather. I'm not sure if O'Shake Foster, because he's just won that. So I'm not sure if that was super feather. You know, all these weights above bantamweight are all the same to me. Do you know what I mean? No. So O'Shake Foster, he won the super feather. Okay. See, I'm not sure who the WBC. I have to look for that.
Well, yeah, that's one to the people them to look out for if they want a little boxing. Look into that. But yeah, it's all about UFC 28. Jon Jones is back. Big fight.
There has been a lot of happening boxing recently. There's
boxing's been crushing it for the last few weeks. So this week now it's a UFC weekend. UFC 285. Jon Jones is back. Everyone's gonna watch that and see if we got a pick right. If I've got my pick right,
I'm gonna go with Jon Jones. I've not heard of the other one, so like
he's legit. The other guy's legit, but I just think Jon Jones. I hear what you're saying. The ring rust, this, that, the third. But I think the preparation, everything. I think he's gonna come in there and handle the business.
Yeah. It would be a surprise, right? If he didn't.
I can't say surprise because it's his first time at heavyweight, and these guys are a lot bigger than what he's used to. But yeah, he's the favorite. He must be the favorite. I'd expect him to win. So yeah, Jon Jones by TKO is my shout. If it goes decision, it goes decision. But I'm saying Jon Jones wins either way. But yeah, all right, champ. It's been another one. Wrap it up.
That number 4 in the can. In the can.
Number 4 in the can.
Number 4 in the can.
It's the hustler and the champ. Done.